Elon Musk said that the European Commission offered him a secret deal where they demanded that he conducts censorship of certain political narratives on his platform. In the world of AI, if we give up our right to privacy, you can be certain that every message that you send will be monitored, will be analyzed. Every draft, every thought, every idea will be scored. Every relationship will be mapped. The future can become much darker and more dystopian than the Soviet Union of the 80s. Our ship has already hit the iceberg. We have already started to sink without even realizing it. And I'm talking about the ship of our personal freedoms. Personal freedoms are being eroded everywhere in the world, almost without exception. In Germany, the largest country in the European Union, people get arrested and persecuted for insulting politicians online. Thousands of people every year. You call a politician a pig or a thief online and you can serve up to 3 years in prison. Thousands of people are getting arrested every year in the United Kingdom for social media posts. If you say something politically incorrect online, you may end up being fined or spend some time in prison. So now people are afraid to use their real identities. People stop using their real names when they make comments online. And the European Commission is pushing for a new measure. A measure to require that all social media users present their IDs before they can access social media sites. Their official justification is child protection. They want to ban social media services for everybody under 16. And for that, they need people to verify their age by presenting their ID. But what will happen if social media sites are banned for teenagers? Will it bring harm or good? Actually, we know the answer to this question. Why? Because it has already been tried. This experiment has already been conducted. It has been carried on. In Russia. So Russia banned Telegram, the largest social media platform at the time, for all of its citizens, because we refused to comply with their demands for mass surveillance and censorship. However, 95% of Russian teenagers still use Telegram every month. How? They use VPNs. They bypass the entire thing. And there's very little you can do with VPNs. Russia is trying very hard. They have invested billions in trying to fight VPNs. They're banning hundreds of VPNs every month, using IP addresses and traffic patterns. They even installed surveillance hardware into every data center of every internet provider in the country, trying to monitor all the traffic and trying to prevent people from using VPNs. And they failed. Despite all this effort, they failed. The majority of the population of Russia still uses Telegram. The majority of the population of Iran still uses Telegram as well, despite the fact that Iran has been blocking Telegram for all of its citizens since 2018. So we know exactly what happens when you ban social media for part of your population. They just switch to VPN. The problem is, once we force teenagers and children to use VPNs, all kind of nasty, illegal, fringe content gets unlocked for them. Certain websites that have been banned years ago all of a sudden become available again. So the children end up being in a larger danger than they're in now. Protecting children is exactly the same justification that has been used in countless other cases by authoritarian regimes over the course of the last century. Why? Because once somebody says child protection, all of a sudden it triggers very ancient, very deep parts of our brain. Who would be against protecting children? Everybody is scared for the future of their offspring. Once somebody says we need to protect the children, they're in danger, it completely bypasses logic. It bypasses debate. It bypasses rationality. All of a sudden, people are ready to give up everything. And the authoritarian regimes were able to smuggle all kinds of repressive legislation under the guise of protecting children. Now, the same justification is being used by the European Commission to push for a set of surveillance laws, the so-called chat control, the chat control initiative. For 5 years, the European Commission has been trying to force a new set of laws that would require every messaging app to implement a backdoor to their encryption, so that everything that we share online, every private message, every private photo that we send using apps like Telegram or WhatsApp or any other would be automatically monitored. And if the system detects that we are trying to do something illegal, it alerts the authorities. The justification here, again, is child protection. And this has been tried on the European level and also on the national level. The French government has been trying to pass a similar law that would basically mandate mass surveillance on the national level. The French Senate has approved this law. It got stuck on the level of the National Assembly, but the French Senate thought it was a reasonable and a good idea to enact mass surveillance. So this shows how dangerous it is and how close we are, even here in Europe, to a stage where we end up being monitored. Now, the French used slightly different justification. They said, we need to combat crime. We need to do something about terrorism. We need to do something about drug trafficking. And that's why we need to spy on you. For your own protection, you have to give up your essential right to privacy. It was Benjamin Franklin who said, those who are willing to give up their essential liberty for some temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Once you allow law enforcement, police, have access to your messages, you will not prevent crime. The criminals will be the first to switch on to other tools, more secure. They will use VPNs. They will use private secret apps. They can even vibe code their own encrypted messaging app now in the age of AI. The criminals will be fine. It will be the law-abiding citizens who will be put in danger. It will be the ordinary people that will have their privacy taken away from them, not the criminals. There is no second West. There's no backup civilization. For decades or centuries, the West has been a guiding star for everybody who loved freedom, and we need to preserve that. If the ship of Western freedom sinks, the rest of the world is likely to follow. We will lose freedoms everywhere. So we cannot let this happen. We cannot let this ship sink. The only way forward is to fix this ship. Let's do that.